starts now.
Someone recently asked me what I do, presumably what I do to earn money that pays my living expenses on a daily basis, to which I replied, I'm an illusionist. In fact, we all are in varying degrees. When I was a grad student, I and a few of my colleagues were ruminating over our upcoming sessions as junior lecturers and teaching assistants. None of us had any experience in that. We had no idea what we were up for, so off we marched to the dean's office. He welcomed the four of us into his less than spacious office, opened the window behind him, and proceeded to light a cigarette. Listening to our worries, he leaned back, blew a puff of smoke out his window, and proceeded to explain to us that the answer was in the word theater. Theater and drama are at least 75% of everything we do. Those who understand and embrace this factor are those who become successful, he explained. It was about the art of illusion. I think one of the greatest acts of illusion is found via military-style organization. The British bearskin hat, that black, furry, tall hat that sits atop the red and black uniforms of the Queen's Guards, finds its origin in the battlefield. The idea was to make each soldier look taller, and thus more intimidating to the enemy. The Maori of New Zealand use a different form of illusion, the Haka war dance. Synchronized men with tattooed faces move left, then right, yelling and chanting with bulging eyes and distended tongues, conveying the idea that these soldiers are actually demon-like, are unafraid of anything, and are ready to consume your flesh. Corporate illusion has a different name. It's called branding, but it is illusion nonetheless. The corporate entity needs colors, lines, and shapes, and what emerges are logos or a typeface. This then finds life in narratives and stories of all kinds, typically found in commercials or print ads. Whether the goal is to make the company appear local and friendly, or global and all-powerful, what are essentially storytellers and scriptwriters fashion an identity, giving it background and depth, and context of character, giving it voice, and thus an illusion of what the corporate entity or product actually is. The more the illusion crystallizes into a focal point, an identity that people feel they can touch and relate to, the more sustainable the illusion is, the more powerful the brand entity and corporate image. The Jolly Green Giant, Allstate Insurance, Disney, Molson Canadian, Snap, Crackle Pop, Mr. Clean, Intel, Roots. These are all focal points in a narrative and of personality that usually have very little to do with the workspaces of employees, the corporate bylaws, or physical structure of a company. Sometimes very little to do with who the actual person is or was. All this, of course, drives the engine. But the theater, the illusion, is altogether quite different. Some examples of illusion or brand image can take on a life of their own. The band Kiss, for example, is a personality and an image, quite distinct from its membership, which has evolved considerably over the decades. I remember walking into the offices of Mad magazine in New York sometime in the 1980s. I had the idea of a very busy workplace featuring illustrators, writers, maybe photographers, a studio area, and the like. It was actually a very small office in a midtown high-rise that had the magazine's logo and visage on the wall behind a receptionist. In all, there were 3 small offices in there, and nothing else. It had the illusion of size, a personality with depth and context, yet it was quite different when the proverbial Toto pulled the curtain aside to reveal the wizardry behind the illusion. Now, if you feel you're not an illusionist in any way, consider if you've ever wondered which side of your face looks better in a photo, which shirt makes you look younger, thinner, or healthier, and why that business suit makes you feel more confident when you walk into a team meeting. Create the illusion, the depth, and context of the personality, then fill in the rest. Visit StephenChristiansen.ca for more episodes. This podcast is available on premium streaming platforms including Anchor, TuneIn, Apple, Google, and Spotify. I'm Stephen Christensen. Thanks for listening.
Production of Stephen Christensen. Podcast complete.